Hello friends, welcome to course Semantic and welcome to the video tutorial of C programming. In this video, we are going to see the next part related to union. So this video will cover the example which is based on union, so it will be easy for you to understand the concept of union. In last two videos, we saw the basic concepts related to union as well as we saw the difference between union and structure. So with the help of this example, you can understand the concept of union in much better way. Okay, so let us start. So just assume that this is our example. Okay, here we want to store the details of employees. Okay, like employee ID, name, email, type. Now, here for this particular example, we are considering only two types of employees, that is manager or engineer. And if employee is manager, I'm storing the value of number of teams. So here basically we are storing the particular employee is manager of how many teams. And if employee is engineer, we are storing the name of team, or you can say whatever is the team project. Okay, so basically these two informations are not compulsory for each and every employee. It very much depends on the type of employee. Okay, so here what we will do, we will first of all identify the compulsory portion that we want to store, and then after the optional part of this example. So this will help us to write down a structure or union for it. So as you can see here, I mark this area with blue line. So this is basically our compulsory part. Okay, and this is the orange one is optional part. So if we are using, means all of you know that union allows us to store only single value. Okay, the single value or single member having highest memory requirement. Okay, and it can store a single value only. So definitely for this optional part, means either we want to store number of teams or we want to store the team project, right? So for this part we will use the concept of, sorry, we will use the concept of union. Okay, and this part is compulsory, and for that we are going to use structure. For this we are going to use structure. So basically we are not going to declare these two parts separately. We are going to create a structure, and inside this structure we are going to create the union. So basically union will appear inside the structure. Okay, so I hope all of you are familiar with the concept of complex structure, which I explained in the early videos related to structure. So if you are not aware of that part, my suggestion is to watch that video. I'll attach the link of that video in the description below. Okay, so basically we are going to create a complex structure which is having union embedded in it. Okay, so let us write it. So struct, let us call it as employee. I want to store id, so id will be of type integer. Then there is name. Name is character array, which is nothing but a string. So I'll say name of size 20. Then email is also a string, so I'll declare it on same line, so say of size 100. And then type, for type it will hold just one character, that is either M or E. So that's why I just declare the type character of type character. I didn't declare array for it. Then here this information is pending, right? We want to define it. And as I said, we are going to create a union for it, and that union will appear inside this structure. So let us define the union. Union, this is the keyword that we use while declaring the union. Then say emp details. So this is EMP details union, and it will hold this number, say NO, number of teams. NO is for number of teams. And then next is team project. So for that, I'll create a character array. So char team, say of size 20. Okay. And here, what you can do, see, union is whatever you do here, it is basically a data type. But we want to store the value for these two members. So we have to declare the variable of it. So immediately after declaring the or after defining the union, you can immediately declare the union variable here. Okay. So now this structure will have ID, name, email, type, and ED. And ED will have num or number of teams and team name. Okay. So our structure is also completed here. That's it. Okay. I hope you understand this. Basically, union is very rarely used alone. Okay. Many times it is used in combination with structure. Means it is either embedded in structure or inside the union we can embed the structure. You can see lots of example in your books. You can refer it. So this is just a basic example that will help you to understand the concept related to it. So what we will do now, we will write a or we will write a program related to this example in the code blocks, and then we will execute it. So program is going to be very simple. What we are going to do, we are going to accept the details of employees. Okay. And then after, we are going to display the details of employee type wise. Means first of all, we will display all the managers. Basically, we are inputting a data randomly, right? We are either entering manager, then engineer, engineer, manager, and engineer. Suppose if we input a data in this order, I want data to be printed in classified way by the type of employee. Means all the managers get printed first, and then after all the engineers get printed. Okay. So basically we have to create an array of employee. Say if we are accepting 5 employees, so we have to create an array of employees of size 5. And the basic trick is here is that based on the value of type, means it can be either, see, value can be what? Value of type can be what? Either E or M, right? So if it is E, then we will accept team project. And if it is M, we will accept number of teams. So after inputting the value of type, we will determine which value of union we have to accept. Okay. But how you will refer these variables of union? Say just assume that our employee array is E. So E of I dot ed dot no. So remember this thing. First of all, we are going to create an array of this. So this is array of employees. Then we already declare a variable for union, which is ed. And then after we can use the member of it. So this is the way to access the member of inner union or inner structure, which I already covered. Okay. So let us write the code. So I already created one file, that is union example.c in code blocks. Even I defined that structure also that I discussed earlier, which is employee structure having employee ID, employee name, email, and type value. And then we created the employee details union because we want to store either of these two values. Okay. So number, which is nothing but a number of teams, and team is nothing but a name of team or project. And here we created the variable for it also. Okay. In the main function, I created an array of employees of size 5, and for the loop iteration, I declared the variable I. So since our array size is 5, I'm iterating loop through 0 to 5. Okay, I hope it is easy, right? So as I said, the value of number or team will be accepted based on the value of type. Okay, so that's why we inputted the employee ID, then name, then email, and then type using scanf statement. And before that, I just give the informative message that enter ID, name, email, and type. Okay, now let us check the value of type. If e of I dot type is equal to m. Now user can enter small m, so I'll just put or operator. It can be either small m or capital M. So type is equal to small m. So in that case, we are going to accept the value of number. So let us give one message to the user, printf, enter number of teams. Okay, and then after scanf, no is of type integer, so %d, and here I'll say ampersand e of I dot ed dot no. Okay, why I use ed? See, this is our main structure variable, that is array. Inside that we have union variable which is ed, and then after n. If it is not manager, so in that case we will consider that it is employee, sorry, it is engineer. So what will I do? I'll accept the value of this team, which is string type of data. So I'll just say printf, enter team or project. Okay, just colon sign, then scanf. Now this team is of type string, so I'll say %s. So while scanning string, we didn't put ampersand sign. So here I'll say e of I dot ed. Again, it is part of union, so you have to specify the union variable and then after the member of union. Okay, so done. So input part is done. Now, as I said, we are accepting value randomly, means we are either accepting engineer, then manager, engineer, manager, like this. But while printing, we want to display all the managers first and then after all the engineer. Okay, title for printing all the managers. So first of all, I'll just display one message in round bracket, in double quote, slash n all managers, and again slash n. Okay, so this will keep a new line and our data will appear on the new line. Now for printing all the managers, again I have to iterate through loop and I have to determine the type, right? If it is m or small m, then I'm going to print all the details of that employee. So let us write one for loop. So for I is equal to 0, I less than 5, and I plus plus. Curly braces. Okay, let us put one space so it will be easy to understand. Now, as I said, first of all, we will check the type of employee. So if E of I, which is our array, dot type is equal to capital M. As I said, user may enter small m, so we have to check that condition also. Dot type is equal to small m. So here also I have to enclose it in single quote because we are dealing with character, not a string. So here we are going to print the details of employee. So printf, first of all we will print his ID. So ID is of type integer. Then I'll put a slash t. Okay, so there will be a gap of tab. Then name, which is of type string. So %s again. tab. Then we want to display his or her email. So again %s /t. Then we want to display a number of teams, okay, which is of type integer. For manager, we are going to display a number of teams. So it is of type integer, so %d, and then after I'll put a new line, okay. Now e of I dot empid, e of I dot name, e of I dot email, comma, e of I dot ed dot number of teams, which we are specifying by nu on number variable. That's it. So we are done with this part. Similarly, we want to display the details of all engineers. So I'll just copy this code and we will do the necessary changes. So first of all, I'll say all engineers. Okay. For engineers, we are assuming that user will enter E. So we are comparing with capital E and small e. And for engineer, we want to display his team name, which is of type what? String. So here in the last place, I have to do change. Employee ID, name, email, and I want to display the team name. Done. Okay. So we are done with this. So let us check the code. So let us enter some data. So I'm entering ID first, then name, say XXX, then email, XXX@gmail.com. Then see what happened here. It didn't accept a type and immediately it is asking for team or project. But it didn't accept the type, whether the particular person or particular employee is manager or employee. So let us check the code and we'll solve this issue. See, till this point it accepted everything correctly, but it didn't accept type. So basically a type is character type of data. Only character, it is accepting single character. So whenever you are accepting other type of values before character, so our buffer, input buffer, uh, couldn't recognize the type, okay, couldn't recognize the character type of data. So what we have to do, we have to clear the buffer before accepting the character type of data. Okay, so what will I do? I'll just remove this part of scanning character from this particular statement. Okay, we will write a different scanf statement for this. So after scanning these values, I will clear the buffer. So for that we use function fflush, and that standard input buffer is defined by stdin. So this is a specific type of part of memory which is allocated for storing the inputted data. So we are clearing it or cleaning it before accepting character type of data. And I already discussed this particular function in my early videos whenever we are studying the basics related to C programming. So scanf percent %C and ampersand e of I dot type. What will I do? I'll just put a slash in here so it will accept data, or cursor will appear on the next line. So we are done with this. Let us save it and test it. 101 XXX@gmail.com. Now it is accepting the value. Say manager, and it is the manager of 5 teams. Okay. Now let us enter the value for engineer. Say YYY@gmail.com. So for engineer, I'll say E, and let me maximize it. And then we have to enter the project name, say time management system. Okay. Similarly, what will I do? I'll input the data for rest of the records and then we will observe the output. So as you can see, I inputted all the required data for all the 5 employees: 101, 102, 103, 104, and 105. 101 is manager and 104 is manager. Okay, so in the all manager list, this 101 and 104 should get listed. So let us enter the enter key. So let us hit a enter key. See, 101, 104, they both are manager and they are manager of 5 and 3 teams respectively. Y, Z and B are engineers, and here their team name or project name appears. Okay, so I hope you understand this and you enjoy the series related to union. From the next video, we are going to study the new topic in C, that is file handling. Thank you for watching.